Welcome to my humble little office. My name is R. Keith Andrews. I'm a spiritual guide and paranormal adept. The journey continues today on October 28th, 2021 at approximately 11:04 a.m. PST. It's been a very long 2 years. Okay, not for me, but for everybody. For me, it's only been a very, shall we say, hectic 7 months now? Yeah. March 6th of 2021, I started this journey. And here we are in October. I didn't know if I was going to be running it for a day or two, or like I had done on a number of occasions, or if I was actually going to get my foot and my feet going. Now I'm finding it's a very different world for me. Now that said, if you like our videos, give us a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and don't forget when you subscribe to the channel to ring that alert bell to let you know when the next one comes up. Okay, now the reason I started off with this idea that it's been a very long 2 years is for everybody. The world changed not exactly overnight. I've been seeing this coming, not the virus itself, but the shift coming for almost a decade here. Okay. And the reason I bill myself as a spiritual guide is because the tools that I offer here are the same tools that I personally use and the same philosophies I live by. Now, I don't expect you to take my word for what I'm telling you. Do your own research. Okay. However, the one thing I have noticed is depression is something that a staggering number of people are facing. Many don't even recognize it as depression. But let me ask you this. Are you really content with the way your life is going? Are you able to stay focused and get on track to something that makes you look forward to getting up? And I do mean literally. Maybe it's just a case of you wake up and you go, yay, I got to go to work. I knew a chap years ago. He made a breakthrough, right? He was a grease monkey from the word go. I mean, when I first met him, he had his Harley Davidson parked in the living room, and the head of his I think it was a Pontiac, but I'm not entirely certain on the vehicle. But he had the head set on his dining room table. Okay, and one day he comes home and he's absolutely tickled pink. And he goes, I'll never work another day in my life. And I looked at him and I says, what, you win the lottery? He goes, no. He says, I got hired at a junkyard as a wrench. Right. Which to him meant he got to go to work and play. Now, for the last 20 years working for the same company, I've been dealing with people that are constantly running around in circles. And I do mean that quite literally. And I'd lay odds that most of you are doing the same thing. You get up in the morning, you go to work at a job that, may or may not be fulfilling for you, but you do it because you do desire a roof over your head. And this is what we've been taught. Okay, get up, get yourself organized, go to work, make a little bit of money. But here's the funny part. The people that are really working hard are not the ones making the money. Okay. Now, this does not mean you should sit on your tail feathers, but it does mean you've got to hold down a job. You've got to have an income to keep a roof over your head. Okay. I've been working the same job for 20 years, but the thing that gets me up in the morning at this point is I've got the writing, and I'm writing the books. And it's phenomenal the amount of information that seems to be sitting there. But I found on March 6th rather, of 2021, when I started doing this series, I now find if I don't get it done, if I don't do a video on at least one a day, I feel like part of my day is missing. So I actually look forward myself to getting this thought out there. But here's the thing. Now, there's all sorts of medication for depression. There's all sorts of pills you can take. What people don't seem to get, and this is the one I use, because frankly, I don't like pills at the best of times. If I'm feeling a little down, I'll do one of two things. If I've got other things I have to do, then I'll find the fastest dance-paced music that I enjoy, crank it as high as socially acceptable, and let it run while I putter around the house. Okay. If I get, I'll either do that or I'll get into my writing. Okay, now understanding that I'm in front of the computer like 8-10 hours a day anyway, right? I do make sure if I'm there for longer than an hour, I will get up and walk around, do, 2 or 3 minutes of walking so I don't get too stiff. If I've been there for a long time, I get up and I go for a 10-15 minute walk. And I come back and carry on. The reason I say depression, most people don't even recognize when they're feeling it, because most depression is just a little bit of a blah feeling, if you will, where you just don't feel like getting up. It's the same routine, and why bother? Well, the why bother is so that you can actually generate some semblance of a purpose in life. Now understand, every single person in existence, every entity, is in the same boat. We are right here, right now. And how you got here is not the point. How you die, well, the reality is we all will die. Okay, some of us more often than others. But the issue is not how you die, it's how you live. People talk about immortality. Okay, now we can go the religious side and look at, God will take you up to heaven, you'll spend forever up there, and there's your immortality. I'll tell you, it's a great idea. Been there, done that. Okay, I remember my journey there quite nicely. Of course, I also remember a journey to hell. But here's the funny thing. Okay, that's great for living on for yourself. But how do you live on, how do you live forever in the physical world? Well, the way to do that is by definition, by doing things that leave your mark. Now, the neat part here, okay, this funny little book that I wrote, okay, this funny little book is, in a sense, immortality. Now, you can do all sorts of things on computer, okay, but here's the thing. Computer, whatever you do on computer, and thank heavens for computer programmers, because I'll tell you, it doesn't work for me. Okay, I've been playing with computers since 1979, and I still don't have my head wrapped around them. But this book and several others, and by George, we've moved a couple of things. Oh well, we'll have to straighten that out. Anyway, these books that I've written, okay, are, in a sense, immortality. Okay. In other words, long after I'm gone, they will still be there. Of course, obviously, your kids are a form of immortality. They will remember you. But that's only for so many generations. Mind you, the book, in all fairness, like I've got a book in my possession. The oldest one I've got was written in 1850. Okay. So here we are in coming on, well, being on 20 years, but it's coming on 200 years that book's been around. A little longer than a person lives. Okay, but when you're dealing with depression, find something that makes you happy in the here and now. Okay, clearing out the junk that's been around me, getting projects finished off. Okay, for me, that's a sense of fulfillment. Okay, and that's where this neat little list of things comes in handy. And no, I don't expect you to read it. Okay, because I'm not putting it close enough. But I just keep a list of things going so I know what I'm working on. Okay, but the hardest challenge in the world, the biggest challenge first thing in the morning when you first wake up, and I've done it myself where I've woken up and gone, I just don't feel like getting out of bed. Okay, I just don't see the point at this point. I've fought that issue for years. But what I find is you get up in the morning, first thing you do, go to the washroom, do what you have to. Okay, if it is your routine to have a shower first thing in the morning, get it done. Come back, get yourself dressed, get your bed made. Right there, you've just overcome, first of all, the biggest challenge you'll ever face, your own stubborn disposition. Okay, Now, for me, if I'm having trouble getting started, get the bed done, and then I turn around, turn on the music as loud as is socially acceptable, and let it run, and then I get going with the day. But I will tell you, like, I like my coffee first thing in the morning. Okay, but it doesn't do much. I'd say it doesn't help anybody, and it really doesn't. Helps me, according to the nutritionist I was talking to, because of the lack of coffee I put in it. As in, I take a 12-cup pot, and I only put 1 tablespoon of coffee into that pot. Okay, like I said, really weak coffee. But according to the nutritionist I talked to, because I don't have that good of a background in nutrition, I'm basically drinking water without the chlorine aftertaste, which, from my standpoint, works really nicely. When we're talking about depression, you can take a look at whatever you desire. Okay, now when we're talking about people turning to religion, okay, turning to whether it's religion, spirituality, whatever term you want to use, doesn't matter, or whatever term you desire to use. Ask yourself, you're going once a week, which is great. Most people, when we're talking about going to religion, most people, or religion, a support group, whatever, most of the time, they go once a week, maybe twice. Okay. Even if you're going to a psychiatrist, for a psychiatrist, a counselor, you're going usually only once or twice a week at the most. Usually. Now, for years, I spent 3 days a week with my first psychiatrist. And yeah, I know that sounds like I was completely nuts, but here's the funny part about that one. I got diagnosed all right. I got diagnosed with one very definitive problem: temporal dissociative disorder, which, from the way it was explained to me, simply boils down to I couldn't track time if my life depended on it. Okay, but if you're only going once a week, that's great, and that works nicely. But what do you do for the other 6 days? Okay, now there are some religions where they literally pray every day. And I will tell you, when I was growing up, we used to pray, we used to say grace every night before dinner. Sad to say, that didn't really have as big an impact as I would have liked. Okay, and I'm finding out now that the only way to really break out of that depression side of things, out of that lethargy, is to get up and do something that makes you feel better. Okay, and yes, we can absolutely, I thoroughly encourage you to reach out and help the people around you as well, in any way that you can. Sometimes that is just simply a smile or, a kind word. Okay, it's just that simple. Well, I don't know if it's that simple, but that's what it boils down to. So, when you're looking at that, okay, get up, find something that really catches your attention. Now, and I do encourage you, find some sort of a spiritual connection, whether it's a church, a temple, a coven, simply a support group. It doesn't matter. Okay, well, there are limits. If your support group is sitting down and drinking alcohol, beer, wine, whatever, doesn't really matter. But something to understand about the way alcohol works, from my experience, from my understanding. Alcohol knocks out your trained and learned inhibitors, meaning it knocks out your coping mechanisms. So if you're drinking to avoid the pain, that's great, but unfortunately it doesn't work that way. It actually amplifies it. Okay. I was lucky. I got into drinking to get a complete 100% stranger out of it. Okay. Now, it really boiled down to I spent the time with them until they got out, and too late did I realize there was a potential for a future. Okay, but that sort of falls under the category of the one that got away. She got away, but I did end up with the family. Okay. And when we're talking about dealing with depression, how do you overcome it? Well, I'd love to say, like some people do, you just push through. That's a cute thought. It doesn't work as well as you might think. Okay, now I've got a goal, I've got a couple of major goals. The one reason I returned to this lifetime at this point in time is, quite frankly, like, I remember past lives, a lot of them. Okay, but I came back to literally bring a simple message to everybody, regardless of your background, and that is that working together, we can make this a better world for virtually everybody. Now, I've had some corroboration towards this particular view from some of the strangest places and some of the most, I won't say disconnected people, but certainly from the complete opposite of where I was. One of the most significant connections and corroborations I got, and I've mentioned before, I believe wholeheartedly in God. I do not believe in the way the church is teaching it, to be blunt. Okay, but I am an extremely strong believer in God, in the fact that all of this is created, the whole 9 yards. But the person that gave me the biggest corroboration, okay, didn't believe in God at all. Okay, they had walked away because of things that had happened to them. They walked away completely and were going down a totally different, virtually diametrically opposed path. Okay, but the two of us had such a solid corroboration that not only ourselves, but the people that were witness to it went, yeah, that's real. That is, you are this person from the past. We've met before, and this is where. And it was absolutely remarkable. Now, that particular lifetime, I was here doing a very specific job. Okay, and that was, I literally, my entire life had been spent telling people, first and foremost, working together, we can get along. And everything and literally, the best way I can put it is, everything I talk about doing, the reason I share the tools that I'm sharing the way I am, is because every one of the tools that I work with, you also can implement the same tools. Now, they're working for me. This does not guarantee they'll work for you. But if you're still struggling with this idea of, I'm trapped in a job I don't like, I've got these big dreams I would love to pursue, but people tell me I can't do it. Okay, that I'm not good enough. Well, I'll tell you, I come from a town right smack in the middle of the Bible Belt, where everybody was listening, and this is kind of an oxymoron, but everybody in this town, the majority of them, were listening to rock and roll. Okay, rock and roll, heavy metal, that sort of thing. Okay, I was listening to country. And my abilities to actually see beyond the stable reality, if you will, came into full view when I was only 10 years old. There was nothing in my eyes, there was nothing real special about me, except for the fact by the time my abilities came to light, I'd already been clinically dead 4 times. Kind of a rough start to life, but it did give me a very definitive outlook. The day I was born, I literally died the day I was born, died inside an incubator, and ran into a group of people that literally told me, the guy at the head of the group, if you will, came right out and told me, you can't die yet, you have a major job to do. Right, you agreed to do this major job, so you're going back. And I'm like, I did not agree to this torture. Well, that was when I was born. And then, quite literally, I'm guessing about 5 years ago, things started to unfold, right? And I had some really strange memories that I had talked to my dad and a number of other people. Now, my dad has passed on, so unless you're a working medium, your talking to him might be a problem. But he corroborated on his deathbed that all of my memories were accurate. And he was very itemized. He itemized them very clearly. So things shifted about 5 years ago, and I got I got shown exactly what this major task was. I spent the first 45 years, 50 years of my life basically running around in circles, trying to figure out how to fit in. And, about 5 years ago, things started to come to light. And then I guess it's about 2 years ago now, it became blatantly clear that the message I had returned to this world for was to let people know that working together, we can make this a better world for most people. But the trick is to help you understand that your life can be turned by you. Okay, the reality is everybody is on a path. You're here to gain a certain amount of wisdom to really piece together which way your life is going, where you'd like it to go. Okay, and yeah, my eyes don't work quite as well as I'd like because I don't quite see as well as I'd like, and the Lord knows I'm going to manage to turn that all around. Up close, I can read 20/20, no problem, which is so much better than what I used to be able to do. But I've talked about the way energy works in your own body. See, when you're having troubles dropping weight, your blood sugar is off kilter, your blood pressure is high, your eyes are failing, your ears are going. Okay, these are called diseases for a reason. Dis-ease. The more content you are with you, okay, the more content here you are with you, the healthier you become. I know this for an absolute certainty because about 2 years ago, I had a very simple conversation, okay, and I was told, okay, we'll try that again. This is a live recording, meaning I don't go back and edit any of it, okay, but about 2 years ago, it was brought to my attention of this major task. Let people know that we are all working together. We can make this a better world. And, I sat there and the individual that told me, I sat there and looked at them and went, okay, I understand that's what you figure I'm supposed to be doing, which is fantastic. Thanks very much. But here's the reality. I will absolutely take care of my own 2 kids. I did physically have a direct impact on bringing them into this world. So the fact that I'm divorced doesn't matter. Okay, I will still help take care of my kids as best I can. But I said the rest of this job you desire me to do, not going to happen. I'm done. Okay, unless you can bring me somebody that I can look forward to waking up next to, that I can look forward to sharing the rest of my life with. Now, I had reached a point where I'd already said, I've had enough. I am not dealing with people anymore. I'm not doing it. Right? And I'm not looking for a partner anymore. I'm just finished. And I literally told this individual, if you desire me to do this task, to start working, to start really pushing and striving to get people to start working together, if you really desire me to do that, then you're going to bring somebody to me and you're going to bring them to me. I'm not going looking because I'm done looking. Right. You're going to bring somebody to me that I can look forward to growing up and growing older with. Okay. That will keep me happy, keep me healthy, give me a reason beyond my kids. Okay. And I mean, that is just the way things went. I told him point blank, that's what's going to happen. So what he ended up doing, 3 days later, just 3, okay, all of a sudden, a young lady came into my life. She was brought to me. I didn't go looking for her. Okay, but she was brought into my life. Net result, here I am. Because like I told him, okay, this looks like it could work. Okay, and in all fairness, the short answer is we've been together for just past 2 years now, I think. Yeah, it'd be about that. Okay, and I know this is hard to believe. Okay, especially since it's a long distance relationship. but not one fight has occurred between the two of us. Okay, not one. Now, yeah, there's those of you out there that go, well, how do you know that the other person isn't cheating behind your back if it's long distance, or how do we know you don't or that you aren't? And the reality is, it doesn't matter what you know. It matters what I feel, and matters what she feels. Okay, but when we talk about the whole idea of depression, you've got to find something that draws your attention. Now, for those of you that are into praying or into meditating, into physical manifestation, that sort of thing, however you want to phrase it, okay, take a look at it and just make one small change to your prayers or to your manifestation, the verbosity of how how you're drawing things to you. Don't ask for things. Thank whoever you're praying or whoever you're talking to as a provider. Thank them for providing it. And the reason for that is this. Okay, when you ask for something, you are by definition, you're saying, I don't have this. Now, for people thinking in linear terms, which most of you do, linear means yesterday, today, tomorrow. Okay, and it makes sense if you're sitting at the dining room table and you ask somebody to pass you the salt. Please pass me the salt. You're thinking in functional terms. I don't have the salt. Could you give it here? Now that's great for people that all live in the same linear time thought. But where it comes to the universe, when you go, please grant me this. What what God is hearing is, please let me experience a lack of this item. Okay, so you go, I made the mistake, and I call it a mistake because now I know better. But at the time, it was just plain ignorance. Like, I really didn't get it. I kept asking for peace of mind. I kept hunting around looking for peace of mind. About 2 years ago, I sat down and I finally got my peace of mind, at least as much as I'm going to in this lifetime. There's always going to be doubts. Okay, but the idea of peace of mind boils down to this. Get something focused in your head and take it to your heart. Okay, thought goes to heart, comes back up to the head, and then gets into physical manifestation. Instead of asking, because you ask, it's because you feel like you're lacking something. But what the universe is hearing, because the universe looks at it and goes, because universe works, all things take place in the here and now. So if you're asking for something, you clearly don't have it. And if you don't have it now, you're not going to have it, down the road. So the universe hears you go, please let me experience a lack of having the money to get ahead. Okay, and the universe goes, okay, you desire to experience poverty? Have a happy. Okay, and you're provided with a lack of money, and then you go, well, why don't my prayers get answered? Why am I always behind the 8 ball? Well, you're always behind the 8 ball because of the way you're looking at the world. Now, do not get me wrong. If you're we're not talking about just straight positive thinking and everything will go well. Okay, but we will get back to that some more tomorrow. Today, I'm going to bring this to a close because we're at the half-hour mark. So, until tomorrow, take care of yourselves and each other, and for pity's sakes, stay positive.